everyone, it's Caroline here from Aussie Cards and Crafts, and today, well, firstly, thank you for being patient with me. For the people that do follow me, I've had a lot on lately with work, and also my daughter gave me and presented me with a beautiful baby grandson recently, so that has taken some time because she lives interstate. So I haven't been on air for a little while because I just simply haven't had the opportunity. But I need to make a birthday card for a very close friend of mine who's turning 65 next weekend. So I thought I would record it for you, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. What we're actually doing today is I'm actually, as you can see, I have used one of the sentiments that I've got in my stash, and the numbers, they're the largest numbers I could find in my stash, and some stars, and I've actually heat embossed that onto some vellum. A lot of people have asked me before, can you heat emboss onto vellum? And yes, you can, but please make sure your tool, the heat tool and the heat gun, is actually really hot before you put it on the paper. You do get a little bit of warping on it. As you can see, that's probably not as straight as I'd like it, but it doesn't matter for this because it's actually going to go behind this border, which I'm going to cut out in a moment. Now, the friend of mine whose birthday it is next week is a drag racer, and so I've been stalking his Facebook, and I have found a picture of his race car. He doesn't race anymore, unfortunately, but this is one from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that behind it, and it's going to give it like an opaque look to the actual vehicle. This piece here, which is going to be the border, I'm going to cut out an aperture there, and I'm going to attach this to that so that when we stick it on there, he can actually lift it up and see the photograph, but it will be more of an opaque look. So let's get started. Firstly, what you need is just bring my scoreboard in here. You need to have I've done this one to suit my picture. So this one I have done 11 inches by 7.5 inches. By 7.5 inches, because I just wanted it a little bit bigger because the picture itself printed out 7 by 5. So along the 11 inch, you then just score at 5.5, and there is your card base. Okay, now if your photograph is a smaller photograph, or if your image is smaller, it doesn't have to be this size. You can cut it to whatever size that you want, depending on what you're actually doing and what the purpose is. So there's my card base. I also have got, as I say, the photograph. Now the photograph is printed out in a 7 by 5 size. I couldn't taken the top off there, but that's how the photograph was taken, so obviously I couldn't do anything about that. So there's that. You also need a piece, I'm using a glitter black because I just want it all to be fairly dark. And this one is 7.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And this piece, which is vellum, that I have already done the embossing on, is 7.25 by 5.25. Okay, so I've just kept that just a little bit smaller. Okay, so let me just pop that away. What we now need to do is we now need to cut an aperture in this piece here, because this is going to be a frame that will go on top of the photograph. So what you need to do, and I'm actually going to do a 5/8 of an inch border. So just measure in each side 5/8 of an inch, top and bottom, and then join your lines up. Okay, so join those marks up, and then once they're all done, I don't know whether you can actually see, I have actually done them there. Once they're all done, you will need to get yourself a cutting knife. You can do it on the cutting board, but I prefer to do it manually. And you need to place your knife there, making sure you're right on that line, and you cut from that first one down to there. Don't forget it's going to be a border. Okay, so you don't want to go the edges, you want to go from that line to that line, and you do that on each 4 sides, so that center part will then just drop out. Okay, so there we go. There is our frame, and of course that can be kept for another project later on. Now, with the top of this frame, what I tend to do is go right along the top there with your ruler, and just on these edge pieces, just make sure that you just score those edge pieces, because that's what that's going to do, is when it's stuck on, it's going to allow him to actually lift that up and see the picture underneath. So if we kind of look at it here, he can actually then lift that up and see the actual physical picture without the embellishments on it. So what I now need to do is I now need to stick down the photograph, which I will do now. And then now what I need to do is to stick this onto there. Okay, so I'm going to actually not use glue. I am going to use some, let me have a little look. I'm going to use some red tape. Let me just get rid of that first bit. It's all a bit yucky. So, just thinking. So when you're putting this on, make sure, it probably would be a better idea to put the tape onto this rather than the back of your actual frame. So as you can see, that's got a bit of a curl on it, and the reason I've used the tape is so that hopefully once we put it down on here, it's not going to show. And we'll do the bottom one next. I've just realised I've put it upside down. So that being the case, what I now need to do is to just, remember I said to you to this is just so that he can lift it up and it's not going to tear. Okay. That can just go up like so, fold it over, fold it back again so that it's got some give in it, and then all you need to do is attach it to that top part just here. And I'm going to do that with a little bit thicker tape this time, and I'm still using the red tape because I do find it much stronger. If you wanted to hide these sticky marks here, You could cut out a frame just in normal black card and put it over there, but I know this guy and he's not going to worry about that, so I'm just going to stick that down there. If I can get the topping off. There we go. We'll just, oh, don't you hate this, the top of this red tape? It really gets stuck to you. I'm just going to make sure that I just make sure that is a nice tight crease line, and then I am going to, and I apologise if you can see my head, I just need to line this up. There we go. And there, I'm going to put a few more embellishments on there. I'm just going to get some black, if I've got them, in my little hidey hole here. Yep, I've got some black. I'm going to put some just little black beads around it, just to highlight it a little bit. I don't want it to be too girly for this particular friend of mine, so and I might put some more at the top. There we go. So there is his birthday card. So as you can see, he's 65. Age is merely the number of years the world has been enjoying you. It's got the number 65 and it's got some stars. And I will put in a paper, white paper, and I will stamp that in there so I can write my greeting. And of course, if he wants to see what the picture is, he can then lift that up and he can see the picture there. So there we go. There is a very, very, very simple card, and it's really good to do with photographs. And yes, it is quite all right to heat emboss onto vellum. It actually does give a lovely opaque look for anything that is in the background, whether it be an image that you've got, maybe a pattern paper, etc. But that's going to be his birthday card. I hope he likes it, and I'm sure we'll have a lovely weekend, a lovely dinner with him next week. Okay, thanks for that. If you would like to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, that would be great. I'm very, very, very close to getting the quantities of, not the people, but the hours up, so that would be fantastic if you could do that. And until next time, hopefully it won't be quite so long next time because I'm not quite as busy now. But until next time, happy crafting. Thank you.